Or you'd hear them on the phone talking to blah, 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 their mom, for half an hour, talking to their mom for half an hour. And then, at the dinner table, you say, oh, so what did your mom have to say about blah, blah? He says, what do you mean? I don't know. Says, well, you were talking to your mom earlier, or did she think about blah, blah, blah? I haven't called my mom. No. Yeah, I need to talk to her about that. It's like that. And it's insane. Welcome to the Driving to the Rest podcast. This is Inelia.
And this is Larry. Just a quick note. If you're hearing this, you're on our free feed, which means you'll only get the first part of this conversation.
To access the rest, go drivingtotherest.com and subscribe to the Wisdom Keeper Hour.
Join us and our expert panelists for detailed insights and the after party where you're invited to join in the conversation. Head over to drivingtotherez.com and become a subscriber.
Your $8 subscription keeps this podcast ad-free and helps us keep the lights on and maybe even get a decent cup of coffee. More importantly, it connects you with a community of passionate wisdom keepers like yourself. So if you're ready to go deeper, join us at drivingtotherest.com and support the journey. And this week, we're going to be talking about forgetting stuff a lot.
Forgetting stuff a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Not just a little bit.
Just not a little bit. Shall I read some of the article and then we can talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah. Or did you forget what you were going to say?
I did. Just go.
Just go. I forgot what I was going to say.
That's something very clever too.
You did. And then you forgot about it.
Yeah, it's been happening a lot lately.
A lot. All right.
Wait.
You remembered?
No. Is it a lot like it happens a lot of times, or a lot? It's like you forgot a lot of stuff.
Both, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen both.
Okay.
Recently, I was talking to one of my students about the amount of things that slips our minds and how much content or context is forgotten on a daily basis. At first, this was simply funny, a thing to observe. Then I noticed how widespread this problem was. I became curious and started looking in more detail at the mechanics behind this phenomenon.
Are you saying it happens in waves?
Kind of, but it's like very long waves, not like 1 week and then another week doesn't. I remember it was like a deja vu for me that this was happening all around me with all sorts of different people. Most of the people I know, actually. And then I remembered that when I was a little kid, it would happen all the time. That was the normal. People would do things, go for a picnic or whatever, so the next day they would have no recollection of it at all. So I became curious at the time.
Well, I remember you've asked me to do things lots and lots of times, and I say I forgot.
No, I'm not talking about the man answer, honey. I'm not talking about the husband answer here.
Okay. Yeah. But you have also said, I've asked you something, you said, honey, I've already said that to you. I've already explained it all.
Yes.
You don't remember anything of it? And I'll be like, no. It's like, so you'll like, so this is like, okay, this is the 12th time.
Yes.
And then you'll say all of the stuff again for me because you're patient with me.
That's different again.
That's not the same?
No.
So there's a lot of forgetting going on around you.
Yes.
Okay. This particular brand of forgetting, what is it? Let's go.
No, but those are interesting because, yes, there's the husband thing, or wife sometimes, of, darling, did you put out the rubbish or garbage yet?
Oh, I forgot. Just all you have to do is tell me, honey.
Mm-hmm. Did you pick up the kids?
Oh, no. Was I supposed to?
There you go. Yeah. Now you're getting the idea. Mm-hmm. But anyways, that's one thing, right? And the other one that you were just mentioning about, we're talking about it, let's say, the multidimensionality of the earth on a certain highway 20 miles from our house that can come in and out of this reality. Yeah. And how, yeah, that, for example.
Have you
and
told
then
me about that before?
And that kind of answer, have I told you about that before?
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, honestly.
There you go.
That kind.
It's like that, yeah. And there's a lot of conversations that I have with individuals, whether it's about their life or life in general, the universe, the world, or how everything functions and whatnot, which go that way. Oh, we didn't have that conversation. Can you tell me about blah, blah, blah? I says, yeah, we talked about it already 20 times. So that's what's been happening recently. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, it's even something different than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of forgetting.
Yeah, I'm not involved, first of all, most of the time. Sometimes it is about that stuff like that, but the one that I'm talking about is, let's say a person goes for a picnic, comes home, and somebody looks at them and says, how did you enjoy your picnic?
Yeah.
Says, what picnic? What are you talking about, picnic? I was thinking about going on a picnic. I was thinking about going on a picnic. You just came back from the picnic. I haven't been out today. Right?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a whole different kind of forgetting.
Yes. It's very intense. It's a lot of forgetting, and it's like very intense, and it's like physical things, and also maybe a whole learning or point of view that a person had that was very, very strong in them, and now it's all gone, and it's like, what do you mean? We said blah, 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 or I said blah, blah, blah. I don't remember any of that. What are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. So it's like big forgets, like could be days, weeks, or even whole experiences. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about right now. That's what's been happening.
Would it count if, like, you asked me, say, hey, honey, what did you have for breakfast 2 days ago?
No.
Because I don't remember.
No, nobody remembers what they have for... Unless they have the same breakfast every day.
That makes it easy. That's cheap.
It makes it easy, yeah.
We're on the road, so...
Yeah, unless... there was a time when I used to plan meals, like, for 7 days at a time. And every Monday we had XYZ, every Tuesday we had XYZ, so I could tell you exactly what I had 3 days ago. As long as I knew what day I was in, I knew what I'd had 3 days ago. Because I would have that every Tuesday, every Wednesday, whatever's, right?
I had eggs scrambled with tomatoes, which I never have.
2 days
and
ago?
olive oil.
3 days ago?
Yeah.
That was yesterday, honey.
Yeah.
Not that.
Okay.
Anyways.
You have been noticing
this type of thing.
A lot of forgetting.
Yeah, but that type of big forgetting. And this type of thing was really common when I was a little kid. Very, very common. That was the normal. People would do stuff, go places, have conversations. And then the next thing, they don't remember any of it, like zero. And not just conversations with me, right? It's like you'd meet somebody in town, and then if they forget they meet that some person in town, and whatever's. Or you'd hear them on the phone talking to blah, 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 their mom, for half an hour, talking to their mom for half an hour. And then, at the dinner table, we say, oh, so what did your mom have to say about blah, blah? He says, what do you mean? I don't know. He says, well, you were talking to your mom earlier, or did she think about blah, blah, blah? I haven't called my mom. No. Yeah, I need to talk to her about that. It's like that. And it's insane. And then it's like, I remember that. And I remember it, and I'm thinking, I figured it out. The way I figured it out was because a few years ago, let's say, I don't know, 20 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, probably about 20 years ago. I noticed that people were not forgetting those things. I noticed that people could remember, like, oh, there's a new rug on the floor. I remember buying it. Yeah. But I remember it was this other color. So there's a green rug on the floor. You go into their house and it used to be blue. And you go, I thought your rug was blue. Says, yeah, it is. No, it's green. Yeah, I remember I bought a green rug. I was sure it was blue. But obviously, it's never been blue. It's always been green, as you can see. So they could remember it. But they could all remember the other also. They remembered both. But if I hadn't mentioned it, they would only remember the green rug, right? So that happened, and so it was like a turnover of things changed, but they could remember the previous stuff, and then it got really big all over the planet, and it's called the Mandela effect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see I see where you're getting about the level of forgetting.
Yeah.
It's like forgetting, like, how could you forget something that you remember so well?
Exactly. Yeah. And the Mandela effect is where the whole
different memory of what is current. And you know for sure your memory is right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not right.
Right.
But it is because you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, so it's called that because there's a whole faction of people who believe that Nelson Mandela died in prison and his wife became the president of South Africa after the revolution.
Which is what I remembered.
And there's another big amount of people who remember Nelson Mandela coming out of prison, divorcing his wife, and becoming the president of South Africa.
I remember that one too now.
Right? So both of them people remember like that. See, you remember both.
I remember both.
Yeah. But when it happened, some people would remember one or the other.
Yep.
And they couldn't remember the other, right? So when that started happening, I saw that, it's a timeline thing. Some people are becoming aware of swapping timelines. And people bump into different timelines all the time. It's like any major decision, they don't even know it's a major decision they've made. You go, whoa, 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 timeline's this, and then another timeline, and another timeline, And then they come back, or maybe not, all sorts of stuff like that. I remember once there's a guy arrived at the Shaman Shack to an event, and he was from Switzerland, I think, or somewhere like that. And he had brown eyes, and I remember thinking and talking about how different it was. I didn't expect somebody who was from an ancient Swedish lineage from a village that they haven't moved out of there for thousands of years, having brown eyes. It's like, how come you have brown eyes? Yeah, they should have blue eyes, right? Yeah. We're having this conversation. He was pretty dark-skinned as well. Anyways, a year later or so, he came back for another event, and he had blue eyes, and he was white, very white, and very light hair. And I'm like, what happened? Do you remember having this conversation? And he's like, oh my God. He said, I remember having the conversation, but I've never had brown eyes. Obviously.
Obviously.
I was like, yeah, I had dark skin, dark hair, and brown eyes. So I remember that conversation. But obviously I don't. So it's like that. But nowadays, that's gone again, and people just remember what they remember, and what they've forgotten, they don't remember at all, like it never happened. Yeah, so it's back to how it used to be normal when I was a kid.
Which part? Which normal?
The normal of people forget a lot, and they never come back. It never comes back.
And they don't remember that they forgot.
Yeah.
They don't remember that they had the conversation with the brown eyes. They have blue eyes, and you say, do you remember we talked about your brown eyes? And they say, no, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
So it must have been someone else.
That must have been someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's back right now.
Yeah.
Less memory of the other memories.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. There's a lot to memory, isn't there?
Yes. All right, so then I noticed how widespread this phenomenon problem is. I became curious and started looking in more detail at the mechanics behind the phenomenon. One of the things that was common is that when a person forgot something, it was completely gone. It was not one of those situations where you go get something from the kitchen, for example, and by the time you get to the kitchen, you forgot what it was. You know you wanted something from the kitchen, but you don't remember what. Not like that. The situation is closer to, say, you sitting in the living room, then you look down at your hands and see an apple half eaten. You don't remember going to the kitchen, getting the apple, or eating it. Or in more severe cases, you're hungry one second and then not hungry the next second, but have no idea why. Another person watching you would have seen you get up, go to the kitchen, grab an apple, bring it back, eat it, get up again, throw away the core, wash your hands, come back to the living room, and sit down again. In other words, when we forget something, we can be aware that we forgot something, or completely unaware that we forgot it. What has been happening recently, in the past few months, is that people seem to forget things utterly and completely, like they never happened. As I looked at the mechanics and energy lines about this phenomenon, I realized something important. I remember what this can be a sign of.
And what is it?
About it. Well, a couple of things. This thing happens when people are changing timelines and or skipping in and out of timelines or the larger Earth.
Wow. Those three things that are... I think we could have a podcast about any of those three things.
Mm-hmm.
So they're slipping in and out of the larger Earth and they forget slipping into it or slipping out of it?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me more.
On one of our Sunday gatherings at the Olympic Peninsula, another student mentioned how she had heard of the Earth getting bigger recently. It made me giggle because this phenomenon of the Earth's changing size, a field, the length of a road, a continent or an ocean or a city, is something Larry and I experience every time we leave the house. Theirs itself is not changing in size, of course, but our perception of how much of it we see and remember does change.
So we like close our eyes and forget. I mean, okay, so if we're going, the amount of going that we're going is the same. It's just the amount of remembering of the going that we forget, including the time.
Yeah.
So we forget that we forget the time too.
What do you mean the time?
So if we like go for a drive and it takes 12 hours, it should take 6.
Mm-hmm.
When it does take 6, it's because we forgot about the 6 hours on the other Earth that we were at.
No, we never entered that.
Oh. Okay, I don't know how that relates to forgetting then.
Because you drive for the 6 hours that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But it took you 12.
Yes, I know. Didn't stop for anything, really, just gas. It doesn't take 12 hours to get gas.
Yes, that.
So what did I forget?
I don't know what you forgot. You forgot the other places that you went to in between point A and point B that takes 6 hours. You took 12 because you went to all sorts of different places between there that are not in the map and you forgot about them.
I see what I forgot. I forgot a lot.
Yes, 6 hours worth.
6 hours worth of driving.
Yes.
Even Google forgot.
Yeah, and sometimes not even driving. You might also feel from the other Earth you pulled in, switch off the engine and just hang out.
I looked in the field for a few hours, get in the truck, keep going, and then you forget all of it.
Yeah, 12 hours later, you only use half a tank of gas.
Well, this level of forget includes the cameras that you have with you.
Yes.
Those get erased.
Yeah.
All the evidence
you might leave them behind.
of the past is erased, partly probably because the past is a creation of your present.
Mm-hmm. Are you falling asleep, babe?
No, forgetting. I'm starting to remember.
Yeah.
Well, when you start remembering how you're creating your experience, then you can see how that can fit into a rational discussion, because otherwise it's completely irrational, because you could say, just put a camera on you. It'll keep track of you going to the larger Earth field. How can it not?
Mm.
But it won't. It doesn't work.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. Because the camera's experience is mirroring your experience.
You switch it off then.
Whatever. I don't know what I did. I forgot.
You switch it off.
Well, I should probably forget that I have it and see how it works. I think it can...
During one of our long drives, a time we like to listen to podcasts, we heard a man explain how he had been taught by a CIA agent that if you didn't want to have missing time while meeting aliens or Sasquatch or other beings, he needed to sing along in his head during the experience.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, a hum, a little tune while experiencing is happening. I tried it on one of our trips that will take us about 12, 14 hours through our GPS says it's supposed to be 6 hours. And this time it took us 6 hours. It's supposed to get to our destination. You can hum it, you can do it in your head, or you can sing it, a little hum or tune with words.
So literally, the way that the experience goes for us is we'll get in our truck and drive. Say we're going to drive to Corvallis, Oregon. It's like 12 hours or something. No, it's like 7.
7.
And so for us to drive from here to Sequim is 2.
Yes, it was.
And then from Sequim to Tacoma, that's another hour and a half or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sequim to Olympia, that's about 2. So that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like another hour and a half to Portland. And another hour and a half to whatever. That's 6. So 6 and 2 is 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours. I must have added 3 hours in there somewhere already.
I think so, because
It's only supposed to take 7.5.
Yes.
Either way, it's not super duper far, but we will find ourselves getting to Olympia, and we've already driven 8 hours.
Yes. And we only stopped once for gas.
And we only stopped once for gas. So somewhere between here and Olympia is an extra 4 hours of driving.
Yes. Or hanging out in a field.
Or going through a portal to a larger Earth, hanging out there for 3 or 4 hours, and then get back to the truck, get back and go back through the portal and just continue driving. So in this reel, it's like the blink to the blink of the pulling through and coming back there's no time in between that.
Yeah.
But all that time that's there.
Yeah. A couple of the times, I remember we're listening to a podcast, a few times actually. We'll be listening to this podcast, a different one. And then suddenly, it's like it was rewound for 20 minutes and we hadn't touched it. Do you remember that?
That's probably the coming back, huh?
Yeah.
Things get reset, but they get not reset
not
exact.
Quite, not exact.
Close enough. You won't forget it. You won't know the difference, but you did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Like, we heard this already. Well, how come they didn't pick that up in the editing floor? You know, it's like, how come they didn't pick up the...
Yeah, I remember we listened. Like, we just listened to this.
Yes.
I was like, what's wrong?
It's everything again. Yeah, it's a really bad edit.
That's what we said.
And again, and then another different podcasts, you know. We get to
the middle of Hamma Hamma, which is not even to Olympia, and it's freaking 11 o'clock at night. It's like, what the heck is going on here? We should be already there an hour or 2 ago, and we're not even to Hamma Hamma.
And that's only like 3 hours from here.
We stopped on the side of the road because we just couldn't drive anymore.
We've been driving for 9 hours. Yeah, that was a bad place to stop. That's a horrible place to stop.
Don't ever stop close to the top of the hill where the semi trucks pull over.
No.
Because they're going to be going all night long. Yeah. That was a very strange one. So I don't understand why humming should make any difference whatsoever. Humming a song.
I don't know, but that CIA agent told that guy. So I tried it one time. And I kept singing. I can't remember what song it was. Probably the only this. You know,
world after
no, not that one.
Small world. That one should help. Stay on the small world.
Yeah, I was singing. You know that song that every single MP3 device, every single CD or whatever it is that you have in your car turns into.
No, I don't.
There's one song that everything else turns into. It's a fact.
Okay.
Mama, just get along. Put a gun against his head. Pull the trigger, now he's dead. Mama.
Queen.
Yes, Queen. Or, we are the champions, my friend. And we'll keep on fighting till the end. There's a lot of very dark songs, isn't it? Killing a man, going to war. But anyways, those songs, every single song on every car in the planet turns into that one.
Maybe because you're in the middle of song, you can't be snapped out because you're singing.
Maybe.
Because remember, some people can like they can't speak the language, but they can sing it.
Yeah.
So maybe it has something to do with the way your brain's wired.
Probably. Maybe you're using both sides of the brain or whatever it might be.
And whatever
But
it is, it must not be like critically important that you go there. But
it worked.
if you can go there, it's you're going.
So we took this trip and I was singing right through the trip, either in my head or out loud. And it actually took us 6 hours to get to Portland or whatever's.
If you remember correctly, we got an hour past where we were supposed to stop.
We did.
In less time than it normally takes us just to get to freaking Olympia.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
I remember because we pulled over and it's like,
what the hell happened?
We went too far?
Yes.
It's not even midnight. How is it that we went too far?
Yeah.
That's not possible.
Yeah. And then I said, I was singing.
All right, well.
Something, well.
Interesting thing.
Yeah. We didn't go to wherever, right? We didn't lose time at all. And it's a little, I mean, I don't remember us doing anything, but again, we didn't lose time, so we didn't go anywhere. So.
Well, we could also say that possibly, well, we just know that the time missing part stops.
Right.
It stops being a 12-hour job to get there when it's 6.
In
we
that
don't know
podcast, this guy said that if you don't want to forget where you go when you've missed time. So then he started doing that and he remembered being like, he didn't have to do regression therapy or anything to know that he went up a spaceship. You know?
In our case, we're just not forgetting because we're not going anywhere.
Exactly. We just didn't go anywhere while I was singing.
Well, that seems like a ripoff.
I know it was ripoff. I was totally expecting to remember everything. Because obviously we go somewhere. Anyways. The mechanics behind this phenomenon, why it took us to the GPS time instead of the double time it usually takes, was that I sang, and whatever does the perceptions and the brain's functions, the perceptions and experience of the larger Earth didn't make it through.
We just didn't go there.
We didn't go there. How about that?
That's something we need to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're right on the edge of having a larger experience of life.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of experiencing it, but we're just forgetting it.
Yeah, because we go back to the same thing. Why are people forgetting so much stuff?
So why?
Why? Why are people forgetting?
Are you going to tell us now, or we got to go to the next show?
I think we're going to explore it more.
In the Wisdom Keepers?
In this Wisdom Keeper Hour. Yeah.
Okay.
And I would like to also ask our listeners to tell us if they're having this experience or they're seeing other people forgetting this much, you know, and what their theories are around it. I'd like to know what happens here.
I'd like to know too.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you in the Wisdom Seeker Hour at drivingtotheres.com.
Okay. See you.
See you then. Bye.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of Driving to the Res, your Wisdom Keeper Hour. Today, we're talking about forgetting stuff a lot, timeline shifting.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, Inelia, hi.
Hi.
We are joined by our panelists, including myself, Ashley Swell. I'm CEO of iBenz Academy. I'm the iBenz Method Mentor, Corporate HR Leader, Mystic, and Yoga Teacher.
I'm Dr. Kara Consigli. I am a certified iBenz Method Mentor, pedagogy expert, gamer, mystic, entrepreneur, and healer.
Nice. I'm Fred Guerin, husband of Kara Consigli.
Dr. Kara Consigli.
Dr. Aerospace engineer, parting ways, pilot dancer, healer, past life regressionist, and student of the occult.
Nice. And I'm Ileana Rogero, mystic, mentor, psychic meditation teacher, architect, and founder of the El Método iBenz, the official channel of Inelia's work in Spanish. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
I can't remember what we were talking about. Can you? Oh, wait, we're talking about forgetting things.
Good intro. Good intro.
That joke right there.
So, since we know this was all about forgetting, you had said at the end of the first hour that you would go into your answer of why people are forgetting. Do you remember?
No, Jimmy, what's going on here?
Why are people really forgetting?
Why are people really forgetting? There was something going on that wasn't mentioned in your first hour.
Yes. So there's experiences that can bring you forth into your new timeline, you might call, right? And some of them don't. So you will forget the ones that don't. Or you could also look at it from the perspective of you jumped into this timeline and you haven't had those experiences. So how could you possibly remember them?
Join us for the rest of this conversation at driveintotheres.com.
And when you go to driveintotheres.com and you join in the rest of the show, rest of the second hour, you also get to join in the after party. 9 o'clock on Fridays, we all get together, including you.